I worked at a company and they said to me, we want to implement big data. And I said, okay, what's the problem you're trying to solve? And they said, we don't know, but everybody's doing it. I said, but what's the benefit? They said, well, if we do big data, it will give us a lot of data, which will give us insights. And I said, do you know how much data we already have that you are not looking at?
Hello, everybody, and welcome to your favorite CX show, the Engati CX show. I'm your host, Rahul, and today we have a business and IT transformation expert with us on the show. But before we proceed, I encourage everybody to click the subscribe button there because we have amazing thought leaders coming from all over the world and shedding light on various topics like CX, AI, transformation, business, customer centricity, all of that good stuff. So make sure you hit the subscribe button and not miss out on any of the videos. And we post daily, by the way. So before we get into the main interview, let me just give you a quick introduction to Engati. Engati is the world's leading multilingual no-code chatbot platform available across 14 channels with 35,000 bots created across 186 countries in every domain and use case. Engati has also been recognized as a top platform by Inc.com, Tech World, CIO, and many others. We run the Engati blog, the video channel, and the Engati CX podcast, of course, receiving upwards of 400,000 visitors annually. Now for an amazing guest, we have none other than Gordan Tredgold on our show today, and he is a business and IT transformation expert who has successfully delivered programs and operational costs and led teams of 1,000 staff for Fortune 100 companies. Gordan is the author of the critically acclaimed FAST, which is a finalist for Management Book of the Year 2017. He is also an international keynote speaker recognized by Inc. magazine, top 100 leadership expert and speaker, and is a contributing author at Forbes, Entrepreneur, Inc. magazine, Business Insider, Fortune, Chicago Tribune, and Fox News. So welcome to the show, Gordan. Such an honor to have you on board.
Thank you very much. And I would also add that I'm still a practicing transformational lead. I'm just currently running a big migration project for Fujitsu, where we're moving a data center to Azure. Right. So, yeah, in addition to all that stuff, I'm still doing it on a daily basis.
That's how it is. So, well, that's for your information. And we can just start on with our first question, Gordan, that I have for you. Okay. Is how does an organization's IT transformation improve efficiency and delivery in a digital economy?
So I think what we have to do is, what you can't do is you cannot assume that a digital transformation is going to increase your efficiency and effectiveness. Mm-hmm. Just doing a digital transformation isn't going to do that, because you might be just, automating chaos, or digitizing chaos or inefficient processes. And yeah, you'll get a small uptick out of it because it's automated. But what we really need to do is we need to look at the processes and see how we can leverage digital technology to make them better. So it's all about the processes that we are automating and the way that we do business. And there's a lot of businesses that they're not currently aligned with the benefits that digitization can bring them. And if they don't align to digitization, then, as I say, you're just going to end up with automated mediocrity or even worse, chaos. So we've got to have that understanding of both business and digitization. And I think this makes it a real challenge from who's leading it. Because if you've got IT people who understand digital but don't understand business, they're going to digitize what you're currently doing. And if you've got business that doesn't understand IT, then they're going to let the IT guys just digitize what you're currently doing. And you need to make sure you get that blend and balance right. And I think, one of the biggest benefits I've seen of digitization was one of the companies I used to work. It used to take, and I this is not a lie, it would take 7 weeks for a global company of 20 billion with 4 different departments to understand their financial performance of the previous month. So 7 weeks later, we could pull it all together and we could see how to do it. And they changed that to have that information almost within 3 days. So now you have the information you need at a time when you can make the changes and improve things. Whereas if you're getting it 7 weeks later, good luck with fixing that. You just had 2 more bad months while you've realized the car's going the wrong way, and 2 months later you're informed of that, and now you get to turn it around. So yeah, that's my thoughts on digitization.
Right, absolutely. I think that's one great point that you mentioned, that a lot of people are shooting in the dark. They have no idea what they're doing, and it's important for them to have like a streamlined goal and problem to fix, and that's how.
I worked at a company and they said to me, we want to implement big data. And I said, okay, what's the problem you're trying to solve? And they said, we don't know, but everybody's doing it. I said, yeah, but what's the benefit? They said, well, if we do big data, it will give us a lot of data, which will give us insights. And I said, do you know how much data we already have that you are not looking at?
Right.
Exactly. But I got overruled, and they ended up spending millions on a big data project, which I would say the return on that investment was less than 1%, to be honest.
Right. Yep. Well, moving on to my next question, Gordon, and this is, I think we got to start with the fundamentals. So, yeah. What are the major pillars of IT transformation according to you?
For the digital transformation, the pillars of that are about a move to a more mobile, work anywhere environment, because this probably be a surprise to you. Given how recent it was, but I built a system in 2006, a warehouse system, and and it was for DHL, and it was about the optimization of supply chain delivery, and the system was nothing special. It was computer terminals with operated by a mouse, and we found that system adoption was poor because in 2006. The majority of the warehouse operatives had never used a mouse. So now where we are, where you've got almost everybody in the world has had a digital phone and is using apps. I think a lot of it is about getting the people. It's about that move to a more mobile, putting the computing power in the hands of the end user, who are now much better positioned and experienced in using those devices. It's about speed of delivery, data, and then it's about having that flexibility and the speed with which we can create systems. Before it would take, I worked on a project in 2001, still not that long ago, and it would take us 8 weeks to get a server delivered from Hewlett-Packard. And then we've got to build it up and install all the software. Now you can spin up a server on Azure in 5 minutes. So it's about that. The mobilization, it's about providing access from anywhere. It's about putting the power of decision-making and action-taking into the hands of the end user, and the speed with which we deliver data and systems. Now, once you've got that, then it's a question of understanding how does that best benefit your business.
Absolutely. Yeah. But now, Gordon, a lot of times digital transformation and IT transformation is confused among each other. Like, people are confused as to what. So can you clear up the difference between digital transformation and IT transformation?
Yeah, it's like saying I'm confused about ice cream and chocolate ice cream. Digital transformation is just a flavor of IT transformation.
Right.
With IT transformation, we went from card to code. We went from mainframe to client server. We went from client server to web. We went from onshore to offshore. We went from insourced to outsourced. We've gone from on-site to outsourced to cloud. Those are all IT transformations. And I think for me, the digital transformation, I think the real key difference, as I say, it's about the speed and accessibility of data that we are putting into the end user's hands. But it's still just a flavor of IT transformation. And because the majority of IT transformations fail, it's still a very risky and highly subject to failure endeavor.
Right. Yeah, I think because a lot of people get it confused, but more than the terminology, I think what people need to focus on, and organizations need to focus on, is the end goal of what you're trying to achieve.
Yeah, absolutely. If you don't know what success looks like,
right,
you've no chance of hitting it.
Exactly.
I mean, it's. I was just going to use I'm a big cricket fan. I was going to use a cricket analogy. If you don't know where you're going to put the ball, how can you know, position yourself ready to take the shot, and to know that actually maybe this delivery we just let it go because this is not the delivery. So yeah, we've absolutely got to understand what success looks like. What's our end game? What's the solution we're looking for, the problem we're trying to solve? And if you know that, that's going to put you ahead of a lot of the game, because a lot of these IT transformations have been me too. Everybody's doing it, so me too. I'll do it. And if you don't know the benefits you could get, then you won't get the benefits you should get.
You know what? Now that you mentioned about cricket, I must say that it's like, this is how I think about it. That digital transformation is kind of like a Yorker, and you probably have to like play it on the black foot, because you need to see where you got to hit it.
Exactly. Yeah, absolutely. But if you know it's going to be a Yorker, you might be able to actually get on the front foot and take it really early. But if you don't know what you're getting and you're waiting, then you're putting yourself at risk.
Right. Absolutely.
Always be on the front foot.
Right. That's true. Well, talking about IT transformations, and I think, the conversation goes on. So, but we have a lot of entrepreneurs and business owners that watch this show. And could you give us some tips as to how should companies really set forth on a major IT transformation project?
Yeah, I think... I think you've got to be crystal clear about what's the problem you're trying to solve and the benefits you're looking to achieve, and then make sure you have a business case that's going to deliver it. Don't let IT buy the shiny stuff without knowing how it's going to be beneficial to the business. And you really need somebody who is minded. Who's going to ask the question, how does this benefit the business? And a lot of IT people will tell you it's incredibly complex and you won't understand it. And one of my favorite quotes comes from Einstein. And he says that if you can't explain it, then you don't understand it. So businesses should challenge IT. Ask them, how is this going to benefit my top or bottom line? How is this going to drive my cost down? How is this going to improve customer satisfaction? And if they can't explain it to you, then they don't know, and you're probably not going to get that benefit. So we need to make sure we're clear about what our goal and objectives are, and we need to be crystal clear that we understand how the solution we are going to implement is going to achieve that. Because when you've got that, then the teams involved know what they're doing, how they're going to do it, and why they're going to do it, and that'll get them to be engaged and empowered, and you're more likely to achieve success. If people don't know what the goal is and they're not exactly sure how it's going to work, now they're just working in the dark. I'm asked to do a task, I finished it, it looks complete, I'll move on to the next one. But if they know what the outcome's supposed to be and why, they can look and say, actually, I'm not sure whether this is right or not. And they can challenge it and correct things rather than, in ignorance, build something that looks okay but actually ends up being useless. And we also need to make sure that we have business buy-in. I worked on a project that cost $100 million.
Wow.
This is for DHL, and we were replacing their operating system, but not the OS. But the way they did everything from it was in the parcel delivery, so it did everything from pickup to delivery through the network, billing, customer complaints, everything. It was the whole of operations. And when we put that system live, we piloted it for, I think, 2 months. I led the implementation of it. Technically, huge success. But the business didn't want the system.
Right.
And we spent 100 million implementing a system that the business didn't want. And I left the project after the pilot because we'd successfully delivered it, went on to another one. 3 months later, that system was deinstalled because the business would not support its full rollout in France.
Mm-hmm.
And the company ended up writing off a significant investment. And even though they said board level sponsorship, and that board member was no longer with them after that 100 million debacle, and the CEO of the company, what he argued was that I don't see how this system is going to drive my profitability. My profitability is my goal, therefore I don't want this system. Right. So from an IT perspective, 100% success. Mm-hmm. The system delivered against the requirements perfectly. It performed perfectly. It was a good speed system. It wasn't slow. It improved the response times, but the business couldn't see how it was going to go. We didn't have business. We didn't have business alignment, and that was 100 million down the pan. That system is still not implemented anywhere in this world. 100. Wow. And you would think that having board buy-in, it would be right, but the board were not the people who were going to be the end users of the system.
Right.
So you've got to make sure that the business can understand and see how this is going to benefit. Because if they can't, they won't use it. You can buy me a new pair of running shoes and go, hey, these are great running shoes. Yeah, but you know what? I have no interest in running. Just leave them in the box in the cupboard.
Right. Absolutely. What I love about the point is a lot of businesses do this wrong. A
lot of businesses.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because they think it's like a one size fit all, right? Just it's something universal transformation. So let's just adopt it, get onto the bandwagon because everybody's doing it. But what they don't really realize is that it has to be tailored according to your business, what you do and how you do it. It can't be like, okay, some X company did it, so we can just copy them and do it. And it'll be a chaos. I think that's how it is. It's got to be tailored.
Let me tell you a stat. It's not so much about IT transformation, but it is IT related and relevant. 95% of all IT tech startup companies fail.
Right.
95%. 42% fail for the same reason. The number one reason, and 42% of IT tech startup companies fail because of this, there is no market need for the product they have developed.
Right.
No market need. So if you're not solving a problem, you can't show the market or your customers why they need this. And if they don't need it, they're not going to use it, and you are going to fail. And that's the exact same thing with IT transformations and any transformation. You have to show people what the benefits are. And if you tell me, oh, by the way, I bought you some running shoes. If you run, it'll help you lose weight, tone your body, be more attractive to women, and live longer. Oh, and here are some shoes to help you do that. Boom, I'm wearing those shoes.
True.
But if you just tell me these are a great pair of shoes, they're the latest Nikes or Asics or whatever they make, they've got cushioned sole. If you tell me all about the features of the shoe, it's not going to happen. You've got to tell me how I'm going to benefit from that and show it. And then you'll get people bought into the transition. If they're not bought into the transformation, it's just not going to work.
Absolutely. Those are some golden points that you've put across because it's very important for organizations, especially post-COVID, right? Because now there's this trend of going digital for all the organizations. But it is very essential to understand that it has to be tailored to what you do. And you got to understand where you are going with it. Otherwise. It's just shooting in the dark otherwise.
Do you know why I'm an expert in leadership? Why I chose that path?
Mm-hmm. We'd love to know that.
The reason I chose leadership as my expert path is because technology is never the problem. SAP works, Oracle works, Azure, Amazon Web Services, all of those things work. Projects fail because of the people involved. They're not correctly motivated. They don't have the right vision. They don't have the right engagement. And if you don't fix that piece, it doesn't matter how good those running shoes are. I'm not going running. So for me, it was as soon as this became obvious to me, I was like, okay, yeah, there's plenty of people that understand the technology. I can always get an expert. What I'm going to focus on is understanding the people aspect, because it's the people aspect that are the key to the success of transformation. If you don't have the people on board, if you don't have the people driving it, it will never succeed. Technology is not the reason why things fail. It's because the people are not bought into it.
Absolutely. What you dropped right there is an Engati gem, Gordan. And that's what we call it over in this show. So guys, exclusively for you guys. Well, this was amazing. There were so many great insights and very important insights, I must say, because in this time and era, everybody is going digital. And this is a podcast that you have to watch if you are a business owner.
Can I just mention one more thing to you? I've just,
sure.
Last August, I started one of the biggest Azure transitions in Europe. And I was the 5th project manager to take on that project. And I was the project manager who saw it through to completion. I was the only project manager who knew nothing about Azure other than how to spell it.
Right.
So it wasn't about in-depth knowledge of Azure. It was about in-depth knowledge on how to motivate, inspire, and create the right environment in which people could thrive and deliver the benefit of Azure. The 4 project managers before me, all of them experts in Azure.
Right.
But it was the leadership skills that delivered the transformation, not the technical skills.
Exactly. I think people, Gordon, people just get lost in the fancy things. You know, the terminologies, the technologies. But they don't focus on the fundamentals.
Well, I think it's a little bit more to it than that, and the technical part is complicated, but it's quite easy.
Right.
If you go and read the right books, if you get your screwdriver out, you can fiddle with a lot of pieces, and it's black and white. Whereas when you're dealing with people, it's emotions, it's personalities. It's bloody difficult. Right. People are hard work.
Right.
But that's where it succeeds or fails. And I think I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of people, because I sometimes look at it and think, why am I doing this? But so I think some people take the easier option of, you know what, I'll just work with computers. They don't have, it doesn't throw a tantrum. It might crash, but it doesn't throw a tantrum. It doesn't shout at me. It doesn't get upset. And so I think there's part of that. It's a slightly easier option to work with than the human side of things.
That's true. And it's an interesting way you put at it, because people usually consider the technology as the big demon that they have to fight. But I think they're pretty, monotonous. It's just one simple thing that you repetitive. And once you have a hang of it, but hey, when it comes to humans, you never know. Maybe somebody fought his wife maybe in the morning. You never know what's going to happen.
Who's the better cricketer, Tendulkar or Dhoni? It's Tendulkar.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Tendulkar. But when it comes to leading teams, creating a winning team, Dhoni is in a class of his own.
Absolutely.
So, when we're in that expert category, it's very easy to focus on the technical aspects and become better and better and better.
Right.
But, and I still love Tendulkar, but, Dhoni's the guy that got India to be world champions.
True. True. You need to have a special secret sauce in you to kind of lead a
Correct.
team.
Yeah.
You can be the best player, but to be a leader, I think you need something special.
You've got to be technically competent, but you don't need to be the technical expert. You've got to be technically competent and a people expert. And if you've got a business acumen as well, that's a trifecta. That's paid gold dust.
That's good. That's the cherry on the cake.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Right. Fantastic. I mean, this was amazing conversation. So many great insights. Before we close out, Gordon, are there any other thoughts, any sound bites that you'd like to leave for our audience today?
Yeah, I think check out my book, FAST. FAST it's an acronym for Focus, Accountability, Simplicity, and Transparency, and it gives you a framework for driving change. Very simple book, easy to read, and FAST is it's a mindset that I've developed. What I wanted to do was I wanted to understand, did I have a subconscious process I was following to deliver change? And if I did, could I become conscious of it and then share that with other people? That's what FAST's about. And I would recommend people have a read through that, because it's all about boiling things down to the basics. And if you can boil it down to the basics, keep it simple, you will deliver ridiculously complex projects. But you've got to find a way to simplify it. That doesn't mean it'll be easy. It will still be difficult. But the simpler it is, more people can understand it. If people can understand it, they can do it. And if they can do it, then they'll be successful. It's as simple as that.
That's true. Well, there you have it, guys. The amazing Gordan Tredgold. And please do check out his book, Fast. All the links and all the details for the book will be mentioned on the show notes, to make sure you check that out. Well, thank you so much, Gordan, for giving us your time. Your insights were amazing, and the audience is really going to enjoy the show.
Thank you very much. My pleasure.
Appreciate that. And before we leave, to all the audiences, I urge you to register for the Engati webinar. You guys know how it is. It's not the usual boring webinars. It's going to be a fun, high-pumped, high-energy webinar. And we have the amazing Dennis Wakabayashi. We're going to be talking about solving complex queries real-time with live chat. So make sure you be there. It's on the 3rd of October. Details, again, show notes. Please go and check out and register today. And we'll be back for a new episode with a brand new expert soon. So stay tuned and see you around for the next one.